And like I said, I really wish that there was more background information about some of the characters, because I think because of what I know with my experience, I was just like, that's not supposed to happen. Hello friends, my name is Candra and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about a movie review. So this time it is not on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. It's actually on Lifetime. The last time I watched a Lifetime movie was like 20 years ago. So I have like no idea what to expect. I was randomly watching a Castle marathon that they had on Lifetime a few weeks ago. And I saw a commercial for the Fallen Angels Murder Club. And I was just like, okay, well, Hallmark Movies and Mysteries is tripping right now. We ain't got another mystery series happening. So I was like, well, let me add this to the calendar and make sure I watch it. So I decided to do a review on this movie. So if this is your first time on my channel, I've actually started doing these mystery reviews specifically on the Hallmark Movies and Mysteries channel, but we haven't had a new mystery in a while. So I was like, well, since Lifetime is picking up doing some mystery movies, let me do that too. So this specific movie is called The Fallen Angels Murder Club, Friends to Die For. And before I even get into everything in my review, I didn't know this was a book. I did not know this was a book before watching the mystery. And I'm kind of glad I didn't know, because I feel like every time I read a book and then watch the movie is always a disappointment. So I'm glad I didn't know about the book or didn't read the book, because I think I would have been very disappointed about what I saw today. Okay, so like always, let's get into this plot. And like I did last time, I'm not going to make up the plot. I'm just going to read it as is, like it currently is on the website. So this is what the plot says. The members of the Fallen Angels Murder Club must have two things in common: a love for books and have a criminal record. Hollis Morgan meets both requirements. When a member of her book club is murdered in a scene straight out of the previous night's novel, Hollis becomes the subject of police scrutiny. Refusing to get stuck with another bad rap, Hollis sets out to investigate her fellow club members, and after a second book-inspired murder, she races to identify the killer before she becomes the next victim. So, before I get into the full-on review, I like to, give my initial thoughts about the plot. So here it is. First of all, the thing that I literally pointed out was I love the diversity of this cast. Hallmark Movies and Mysteries, take notes. White people are not the only people that know how to solve a mystery. Okay, so I've just really enjoyed the diversity of characters, the way they looked, the way they sound, their gender. I loved it all, and I wish Hallmark Movies and Mystery really took that at heart when they made their murder mysteries. The second thing that really stood out to me was that filter that they used to shoot this movie. Great. The diversity of the cast was great, but then I feel like they felt they had to use a different filter because the cast was darker skinned. They weren't white. And the filter just did not work. That their complexion was not seen clearly because of whatever lighting or filter they were using. It was just very dark. And I felt like I had to stand, first of all, I changed the brightness on my TV to make sure that I saw everything, which obviously messed up the way that everything looked. But then I would also like stand like at an angle. I had to stand at an angle to the TV to like make sure I was seeing everything. I'm just like, I really wish that people figured out how to light black people. Like look at Insecure. Take note. Take note of Insecure, because there were dark-skinned people as well as light-skinned people on that show, and the lighting that they used was just chef's kiss. And this one, I was just like, so you can't have one without, you can't have both. We can't have a diverse cast and a good lighting situation for this movie. Anyways, so outside of those like two things, let's get into the plot, my review of the plot. Overall, the plot was okay. It was just okay. Also, I think some of the acting was just like not as great as it could have been if it was on like another channel or like not Toni Braxton. And you know what? I'm like the last person to talk about somebody's acting ability because I'm not an actress, nor do I ever want to be. And I took an acting class in college, and I suck. I know that I'm a horrible actress. And so like I understand how hard it is to put yourself out there, but I'm just used to better acting qualities when it comes to movie mysteries. So we're not going to talk about the acting. That's the only thing I'm going to say about the acting, and I'm going to move on. But overall, the plot was okay. I felt like they could have, especially for people who haven't read the book, it would have been helpful to do more of a background on some of the characters or give some more information, because I have a criminal justice degree and I've worked in the field of corrections. So I know all about probation and parole and prison and all of that. And some of the things that they were saying don't match to what I know and have experienced with the correction system, from prison to parole and probation. So I wish they would have given more background on the characters, so then I wouldn't have been like, girl, that don't make sense. Because especially like with some of the characters and given their crime, I don't know if they were on, and maybe I missed this, but I don't know if they were still on parole, but like some of the things that they were doing to solve this crime like would have been a violation of their parole. And I really wish that they had done more character background versus just jumping in and expecting the audience to know who these characters are, when some of us did not read the book. We were late to class. We have no idea what was going on. We just saw it was a murder mystery and we said, let us watch this. So I really wish there was more character development here. But I think overall, compared to like the Hallmark movies that I usually watch, I would say it's a decent movie. Like, I wouldn't say it was one of the best murder mysteries that I've seen, but it also wasn't the worst. I'm looking at you, Aurora Teagarden. I've seen an excellent murder mystery. If you've never seen the movie Knives Out, that is like one of the best murder mysteries that I've seen in a very long time. And I feel like that's the standard. Whenever I compare any murder mystery movie, that's the standard for me. And so like, if you don't hit that in regards to character development and plot, then you're not gonna be there. And this particular movie was nowhere near Knives Out, but it was still a good movie. I think I was just blinded by it's a diverse cast. I'm really excited to watch it. And so I think, but overall the plot was okay. Will I be watching it again? Yes, because next week they're actually doing another one, and I hope they continue, because Hallmark movies and mysteries is tripping right now, and we ain't getting another one. I mean, granted, we are getting a new movie this month, but I'm not watching it because it's about a caterer solving crimes. Yeah, I really want to watch that. So I'm gonna keep watching this, and I hope they like turn it into a whole series, because I mean, it wasn't horrible. I would definitely watch it again. I'm definitely watching the one that's coming on next Saturday. So yeah, so let's get into some of these scenes. Let us get into some of the scenes. Okay. So before we found out who was the dead body, I guessed that Rory was going to be the person that was killed. It was obvious because he had a lot of conflict going on with him when the murder club went back to his house. And he kept going outside to talk on the phone. Like, if you didn't know that he was going to be the dead body, you should have known then. But it was honestly a tie between Rory and Miller, because Miller was acting strange. But like, I feel like as the movie went on, I just realized Miller's just awkward. He's just awkward. But Rory is the person that died, and I was correct on guessing that he would be the one that died. My question is, I also said, I wrote this down, what kind of ex-felons are these? Why is no one asking to speak to a lawyer, and they're just talking to the cops freely as ex-felons? So if you don't learn anything else from what I'm about to say about this movie, don't ever go talk to the police without a lawyer. Whether you're the witness, whether you are the person that of interest, whether they're asking you questions about what color the sky is, don't ever talk to the police involving any sort of case without a lawyer. Don't say nothing. Don't do nothing without a lawyer, because cops are trained to be interrogators. And the fact that these people who have experience with the criminal justice system are ex-felons, are choosing to speak to the police without lawyers present, raise a ton of red flags for me. I'm just like, so have y'all learned nothing? Have y'all learned nothing? Have you learned nothing? You're just going to allow the police to come into your book club meeting to ask you who killed Rory? Because they already suspect you, because, well, they don't, at this point, they don't know that they're felons, or they were ex-felons is the word that the phrase that they keep using in this movie, which is not politically correct. But anyways, so they say people who were previously incarcerated is really what you should be saying. So they don't know at the time when they come to the movie, the book review, that these people were previously incarcerated. They don't know that until later, but still, they know that who they are. Like the people who about to get interviewed by the police, they know who they are. Talk to a lawyer before talking to the police. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And then at one point, I wrote parole officer Jeffrey has a liquor cabinet. Homeboy has a whole, like a bar, a cabinet that has like, that is clear that they have like glasses that are used to drink alcoholic beverages in his office. And Hollis goes to his office, you know, after finding out that Rory is dead, and just kind of like has a conversation with him about like Rory, and just like thinking about things that are happening. And she specifically said while she was in Jeffrey's office, the parole officer said, you know, I don't want to get you in trouble for drinking while on the job. And I'm just like, but this man got a whole cabinet that is clearly and obviously for liquor in his office. And I'm just like, that's you can't have that. I don't know what kind of parole officer they try to portray on this show, but most parole officers are not allowed to have liquor on the premise. I'm sure some people sneak a few, but like you're not. That's not allowed. In case you didn't know, that's not allowed. Anyways, so Detective Faber, who is the black guy investigating this murder, kept leaving his business card for Hollis, and I'm just like, what? I mean, you talked to her so many times throughout this show. Why you keep leaving her your business card? You don't know how to, you don't think she knows how to get in touch with you? Okay. Anyways, so after the first commercial, I said that there were some glaring inaccuracies about just like the whole premise of parole and probation, because they even talked about how Jeffrey, who was the parole officer, kind of put these people who were previously incarcerated together to form this book club. it was not clear for me if they were still on parole. Like, I wish they would have said that. Maybe I missed it, but I wish they would have been more explicit about that, because when you're on parole, you're not allowed to associate. It's not that you're not allowed to associate with any kind of parolees. You're not allowed to associate with people who've done similar crimes as you. And so while they did all have different types of crime, one involved insurance theft, and I think Abby had to do with some sort of theft, and that's a similar sort of crime. And so they really not supposed to be like hanging together. So it would have been helpful if we had known if they were on parole or not, but I'm assuming that they're no longer on parole. But like, as a parole officer, even if he met them while they were still on parole, the fact that he was putting them together for a book club don't make sense to me. Don't make sense to me, because they, like, the whole purpose of parole is for you to be reacclimated with society and get involved with people that have not been on parole. So to have a book club that was formed by a probation officer, it don't make sense to me, because that would not happen in the real world, is what I'm saying. Because yeah. Anyways, so going on to the next kind of thing that stood out to me. So Miller, I think, was convicted of a computer crime. I think he was doing some sort of hacking, I assume. And now he's on the computer. Typically when you get that sort of crime, especially if it's from the federal government, you on parole for at least 10 years. And you're not supposed to really be on the computer like that. And I'm just like, so why he on the computer? Like, I'm just like, y'all are literally asking him to hack and track things that literally got him sent to prison before. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Anyways, so the one thing that I really like about this movie is the characters aren't as annoying as some of the Hallmark movies and mystery characters. I'm looking at you, Aurora Teagarden. They weren't like overly like in everybody's business, trying to figure out, like, invading other people's privacy, homes, being extra like, they were being nosy, but I feel like in an appropriate manner. Versus Aurora Teagarden that just likes to like walk into people's homes when they are not around to snoop in their house. I'm just like, you trespassing, sis. You trespassing. So I really like that. I really like that they were characters that I did not find annoying, which is why I'm going to continue watching the series as long as it's on. Okay, and then coming back from the third commercial break, we see the Detective Faber giving his card again to Hollis after she goes to the police station and tell him, and I forget his partner name. Girl, that girl was annoying. I was just like, girl, you a little too. Anyways, but he gave her his card again. I'm just like, what is going on here? Anyways, so we find out that Achilles, we are introduced to Bill, who is Hollis's ex-husband, who literally caused her to go to prison. Like, she was false, like, well, technically she did it because she was signing fraudulent documents that Bill gave her, but I guess she didn't realize that they were fraudulent documents. And so when it came to the insurance frauds, they convicted her instead of Bill, because Bill was the one that was kind of into it and she wasn't. But anyways, so we meet Bill, who is her ex-husband, and she's like really salty with him because Hollis is the prime suspect for the murder, because there's someone who is very intent on making her look like she did all of these crimes. So Bill shows up to her house, her ex-husband, to explain, like, you know, look, I'm trying to protect you. You need to get out of the country because, like, it's clear that whoever is doing this wants you to be the fall guy for this murder. And we are introduced to Achilles. So after the third commercial break, my initial thought was maybe Achilles is the killer. Was I right? We'll see. But I also said maybe Achilles is the killer because it doesn't seem right, since it would have, because we literally are introduced to him, and I was like, it might not be Achilles because it would have to be someone we've already met. it's too late in the game for introducing new characters, and I was partially right. But we're going to talk more about that later. I was partially right. Achilles is someone we met before. But I, at that moment, thought it was a brand new character. So, we come back to the first commercial, or the fourth commercial, after the third commercial break, to find that Abby, one of the members of the book club, disappeared. And all they find is her scarf in her driveway. But somehow, we got from scarf being found in the driveway to Abby is murdered. What? Like, unless I missed it, like, there was no sort of, like, investigation to figure out, like, okay, where is Abby? Why did the person who took her leave her scarf in the driveway? Like, there's no blood here. And I'm not saying that every murder requires there to be blood at the scene of the missing or whatever, but like, it feels like they jumped to that conclusion quite quickly with no evidence. I'm just like, how did we get from A to bananas? Because that don't make sense. Like, those are two different things. They're not even the same category. How did we get here? And like, everyone else thought Abby was dead, and then all of a sudden Abby pops up, and I'm just like, I didn't think she was dead, but like, y'all really want us to believe that she's dead because her scarf, because she's missing and there's a scarf in the driveway? No, thank you. I don't believe that. I don't believe that, and you should have just done a better job in trying to connect that or make it clear that she's dead, like leaving a blood trail to literally show that she's dead. I leave things outside all the time because I dropped them and not paid attention. That does not mean I'm missing. And the fact that not only the murder club people, but also the police thought this, I'm just like, really? Really? Okay, I guess. Anyways, so after the once the fourth commercial break comes, I have these notes. So in some ways, I wish Hallmark Movies and Mystery did this movie because the plot would be slightly more developed. And I agree with that. I think if Hallmark Movies and Mystery did this, did this movie, I think it would be a little more developed than it is. The plot feels very incomplete to me, and there's a lot of holes that don't make no sense, and I just feel like there was a better way to do this. I also love that there's no like overt romance happening in this series. Like, not every murder mystery is required to have a romance between the main character and another character. Like, I really love that it wasn't about that. Take note, Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. You can't have a murder mystery without some love scene or romance building. So I still wasn't clear at this point after when we hit the fourth commercial break. I wasn't clear on who the murderer is. I was still guessing, but like look, in hindsight, I should have known who the murderer is because it was quite clear. Like, once they revealed who the murderer is, I was just like, really? I should have known that. Anyways, so I wrote specifically I'm not sure who the murderer is. I'm just here for the ride. It's true. I'm just here for the ride because I was just like, I don't know what to expect. This is Lifetime, not Hallmark. And so I'm just like, you know what? We're just going to be here for the ride and we're going to figure it out together. Okay, so we come back from the fourth commercial break, and Abby appears again. Abby is back alive. We knew she was still alive because, you know, a missing scarf or a left behind scarf does not mean you are dead. So Abby is back. She comes back to the murder club while they're trying to figure out who's next. The police also arrived to the murder club meeting. And Abby finally reveals that she was being blackmailed by Rory, so she could be a suspect, and that empowered the rest of the group to also say what Rory was doing to them. Jean was like, yeah, Rory was trying to out somebody, but he is clearly seeing a guy who was clearly a prominent member in the community, and Rory was trying to out the dude he was sleeping with. We don't know. Wasn't quite clear. As gay or bi. And so he stands up and feels empowered to say that, and so that's why he's a suspect. And then I forget her name, but it's the girl that the woman that has her own like fashion line. She says that Rory helped her and like had some things on her. Miller though stands up. I think he was just feeling the camaraderie that was happening in the room. But he specifically said, "Oh, I didn't deal with I didn't deal with Rory. So why you stand up, sir? Why did you stand up?" I guess that was a very empowering moment, and I feel like if I was in the room and everyone was saying stuff, I would be like, yeah, you know? And I feel like that's what Rory was, but I mean, not Rory, but Miller was, but I'm just like, bruh, sit down, have a seat. Sit down. Okay, so we're coming to the 5th commercial break. So right before the 5th commercial break, I said, could it be Bill? Why is he running if he ain't do nothing like Rory? So this was at the point where, again, I was I will preface this where I was half paying attention when this movie was happening. Paying attention. And so I just like, well, why Bill keeps showing up? Like, if he didn't do nothing, why he running? But I guess Achilles is like, I guess because Bill and Rory were in cahoots, so Achilles might think that he was also like having the same opinion of Rory and wanted to like rise up into the organization or give him more or whatever. So he could want to kill Bill too. But I was just like, bro, why you running? Why you running? If you didn't get convicted the first time with Hollis, I don't think you're going to get convicted now. But, you know, that's another commercial. That's another story. So we come back to, after the 5th commercial break, we come back to Jean. Before that, Jean kind of encouraged Hollis to go talk to Bill, to encourage him to go talk to the police, to let them know what was going on, because he knows a lot more about what was going on with Rory before he died. And so, like, Hollis decides, you know what, I'm gonna go talk to Bill, because he's about to run away from he's about to leave the country and be on the run. So let me go talk to Bill real quick. So we come back from the commercial break to Hollis meeting Bill at this abandoned, like, it looked like a warehouse sort of thing that was happening there. And Bill basically lays out, Hollis basically lays out, look, hey, bruh, I ain't asked you for nothing. When I was convicted for the things that you did, you basically set me up to take the fall for something that you did, signing fraudulent documents. You know, he ain't putting no money on her books. He he divorced her while he was in prison, knowing good and damn well, really, that she had nothing to do with this. So he basically left her hanging. And I literally wrote, I said, Bill did all that and she's still talking to this fool? Because, baby, let somebody let me be falsely accused. Come to find out that it was somebody that I knew, like somebody close to me. You're dead to me at that point. You are dead to me, okay? Don't lose my number. When I get out of this prison, don't talk to me. Don't come for me. Don't do nothing. You no longer exist in my world. So the fact that Hollis is still going back to talk to this fool after he did all of that to her, I was just like, girl, you better than me. Okay? You are better than me. Right before the 6th commercial break, it was very obvious based on so Hollis leaves Bill at that warehouse. As she's walking back to her car, she hears gunshots, runs back in, Bill dead. Serves him right. I'm sorry. Lord forgive me, but anyway. So Bill is now dead. And again, it's very clear that whoever this is very intent on making Hollis like go down for this crime. And it's just like, clearly it's not Hollis. It's not none of the people in the murder club. Like, I specifically said that, I think it was after the second commercial break, I said it's clearly not any of the murder club people. It can't be, because I saw previews for the next one on one of the commercial breaks. I was like, oh, they're all 5 here. So yes, it's not one of them. Okay, anyways. So when we come back after the 5th commercial break, Hollis is kind of like going into like looking over all of the evidence about like what's happening, and she keeps like flashing back to Avery. So we finally know that Avery is Achilles, aka the killer. And I said I wrote down, I should have known it was him. I should have known it was Avery, because on the promo images like they have for this particular episode is Hollis and Avery. And I'm just like, but then the whole episode, you barely see Avery. We see the murder club people more than we see Avery. And I was just like, it was right there. I should have known. But anyways, I guess I was just like I said earlier, I'm just there for the ride. So we know that Avery is Achilles, and the person kind of like behind everything. So once she learns that, we kind of leave again to another commercial break and comes back. And this is after the 6th commercial break. We're coming back. And so Miller leaves a tracking device on Avery's car. Again, if he's on parole, this is not allowed, but semantics. By the way, they are in a parking garage. So Miller leaves tracking device on Avery's car. Avery walks to his car. Then we kind of cut to the next scene where Hollis is walking out literally a level above where Avery's car is, on the phone in the garage, talking to Jean about how she knows Avery did it, and how she about to go back to the warehouse to take some pictures in a garage where it echoes and people can hear you. And I was just like, really? Really? But I guess like we had to, like, obviously, I mean, there's a better way to do this, but I guess it was the perfect means for Avery to figure out, to realize that Hollis knew more than he realized and needed to take her to the warehouse and, like, you know, do things to her or try to kill her because she knew too much. But like, really? On the phone in a garage where it echoes and people can hear you. You don't even know who's in that garage. And I'm just like, she ain't done this before. She ain't do this before. Okay. So we come back after the last commercial break before like everything is revealed. We find that Hollis is in the same place that Bill died. Avery kidnapped her, tied her up, put some zip ties. Avery put her some zip ties. And like, of course, in every good murder mystery, the killer reveals, well, technically it wasn't Avery, it was Hollis that kind of revealed the plot of what happened. Once Hollis goes through like how Avery did everything and who he is, he poured gasoline everywhere where she was and like dropped his cigar he was smoking excuse me, dropped his cigar and like left. So obviously she was about to like burn down the place. And the thought that I said was, good thing Miller put a tracker on Avery's car so he knew where he was. But then like, why was Avery yelling, help me? Maybe she knew or remembered, but like, it's clear that where it was just the two of them and no one was there. So you yelling for help was not going to be fruitful. Miller comes in, saves the day, rescues Hollis. The police are there. They arrest Avery. And then we cut to the next scene where Avery is getting her conviction expunged. She's in the courtroom talking to the judge, explaining why she deserves to get her record expunged. She's granted. Meanwhile, she's talking. Detective Farber comes back and he's sitting in the background. Her expungement is granted, and then she goes and have a conversation with Detective Farber, and he gives her her card again. And I'm really happy that she addressed another card, because I'm just like, how many times you gonna get this lady your card, not knowing that he was flirting with her this whole time? It would make sense because I'm not very in tune to when men are flirting with me, so I would have never guessed. It's like, why does he keep giving her card? Do you think she don't know how to get in touch with you if she wanted to? But now it makes sense because this time the card that he gives Hollis has his like personal number on top, on the back, not his like work number, indicating that he wants to be more personal versus professional with her. But I'm just like, okay, that makes sense. Like, I literally was like, okay, that makes sense, because I would have missed all those. I clearly missed all of those cues previously. I clearly don't know what flirting looks like, apparently. That's what he was doing. And so the final scene of this show, the murder club is outside of the courthouse, and they all get a text saying that Jeremy Wallace, aka the parole officer with alcohol in his office, is dead. So speculations for what's next, because I already saw the preview for like the promo for next week's murder, is clearly not about Jeffrey, like, which is really annoying that they would leave us with a cliffhanger about Jeffrey's murder, and then the promos for next week is not about Jeffrey. Or maybe it is and I missed it, or maybe it was about Jeffrey. Okay, so the promos, to me, when I saw them, wasn't clear that Jeffrey was the new victim. And it might be. But they were talking about I feel like they were talking about someone else. And there was Kelly Wu is the actress who is playing, I'm assuming, the suspect for the next murder. And so they really kind of focused on her there. And so that's why I assumed that this next case is not about Jeffrey Wallace. But I could be wrong. So if I'm going to speculate, I'm going to say that the next case is, actually wrote this down. I said the next case will be about Jeffrey Wallace, ? So the next movie is coming on next Saturday. It's called Fallen Angels Murder Club, Heroes and Felons. And so maybe it's about Jeremy Wallace. Maybe it's about something completely different. I'm hoping and speculating that it is about Jeremy Wallace, because why would they leave us with a cliffhanger about the death of Jeffrey Wallace and then not talk about him this episode? Like, I have common sense sometimes. I'm going to assume that this next murder is about Jeffrey Wallace. And if I was wrong, then I'm wrong. Will I keep watching this series? Yes, because like I said earlier, Hallmark Movies and Mystery is tripping. Okay, we didn't get a single new mystery in March. We got more romance or drama happening were the new movies. So what's next? So I would actually like you to leave me a note in the comments if you watched this movie, if you liked it, and did you guess who the murderer was earlier than I did. I clearly didn't guess the murderer until they clearly pointed out with like flashing lights and neon signs that Avery was the murderer. But it's also because I was partially watching that show. But anyways, yeah. And let me know if you're going to be watching this. That's it. Thank you for watching and joining me on my channel and listening to me ramble about this new murder mystery on Lifetime called Falling Angels Murder Club. Join me next week when I review the next one. And in the meantime, follow me everywhere on the internet, social media, etc. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Take care. What is that thing called? It's so I have like I've not watched the Hallmark Channel or so the last time I watched a Lifetime movie was like over 20 years ago. It was not the worst murder mystery I've seen, and it was not the best. So I think it was a pretty good plot. I think I was just really excited about watching a movie where it's a diverse cast, solving a murder mystery. My windows are open, of course, and people are yelling because it's a nice day outside. Like a scarf, I leave a scarf. one of the members of the murder club book, oh my god,